You're listening to the Red Eye Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. It's JMeeks in the Red Eye Hour. First off, I want to thank everybody for checking out the first video. Thanks for all the love. I really do appreciate it. So we're back again. It's 1:04 a.m., so you know it's that Red Hour time, and I am definitely on the Red Hour flight. I hope y'all are there with me. So this is the Red Eye Hour, Solo Stories, Part 2. Let's get it. So this next story I'm about to tell, it's not as creepy as the first one, but it's a really good one. And it's a story my dad has told me my whole life since I've been growing up. He's told me a couple different times while I was younger. And it's one of those that made you think about for the rest of your life. Like, why did he tell me? And what was the meaning behind it? And was there something I was supposed to get from it? One of those. So this is a story you're not going to find anywhere. It's not in any literature. I don't think you're going to find it on the internet until right now. My dad was a storyteller and story writer himself, so I think he just made it up. But even if he did, it's a great story. So here we go. So it's called The Miracle on the Kansas River. So in this east central part of Kansas, north central part, there was this guy named Donald. We'll give him the name. And he was a pilot in the Air Force and was a captain for like 20 some years and retired and lived like on a nice little farm outside of this farming community where he lived. And he had a friend named Richard. And Richard was in the military too, but he was never a pilot or anything like that. So Donald had like this little, one-man plane, a little hangar that he had, and he had this old biplane. And now this takes place like during like the 50s and 60s, sometime in that era. So it's it's like a little better than a crop duster, but a very small plane. There's a front seat for the pilot and a back seat for the co-pilot. Okay, just a small biplane. We're talking small aircraft. So it's a Sunday. It's a beautiful day out. Hardly any clouds in the sky, just this royal blue sky at the sun shining, about 90 degrees on a summer day in Kansas. And Donald calls Richard up and says, hey, I'm done doing stuff with the family. It's Sunday. Thought I'd take the plane out and go for a small ride, over the river and over the couple little towns and everything, the little farm towns, and just come on back, a little quick ride. Richard's like, oh man, I'd love to. Be right over. So Richard comes over, and they get the plane out. Everything gets checked. They get in. Didn't have a lot of technology in that day, but what he did have, which was pretty, good for that time period, was like the little helmets that they wore. They could talk to each other, but it was very staticky, and it didn't work that great, but it worked good enough. And it's not like they had ejector seats and everything with the, with the poles, with the, I can't even think of the name. When you skydive out of a plane, the parachute, Jesus, the parachute, my God, I couldn't even think of it. So anyway, so get ready. They roll out onto the man-made straightaway that he's got for his plane, his runway, and they get rumbling down it, and they soon enough they take off, and they're in the air. They're flying, they're ascending, and they're looking over all the farmland and the trees, and it's beautiful, and they see the towns and can see their own houses, and it's just great. And so while they're going, and his plan was just to kind of like go by the river and maybe take it down a ways and go to this other town and come back, kind of take this weird way back. But as they're going, they weren't even to the river yet. And Donald notices one of his gauges were kind of fluctuating, and he was losing power in and out, and it was kind of like stuttering and sputtering, and he knew some tricks, but he didn't say anything to Richard quite yet. Didn't think it was an emergency quite yet. So they keep going, and he continues to have problems, and there's you can start smelling like a smoke smell and seeing a little bit, and Richard on like their little walkie-talkie, headset. They can talk to each other. He's like, Donald, I smell smoke. Like, what's going on? He's like, I know, man. I'm having trouble with this engine. Like, kind of losing some power. Here's the plan. We're just going to take a big U-turn. We're going to go like across the river and come back across the river, make this pretty sharp U-turn, and then we'll just head back and land because something's wrong and I'm not sure what's going on. He's like, okay. So here they are approaching the Kansas River, and you see the huge trees that line the riverbanks and the sandbars and everything. And so they're about to start making that left-hand turn. They're starting to tilt the plane that way. And he's losing power fast. And he can't keep up, and he can't figure out what's going on. And he tells his friend, that he goes, look, man, I'll try to get across this river on this U-turn, and we'll just try to make kind of like a crash landing in this cornfield, and that might be our best choice. It's going to be rough, but we'll be fine, He's like, because I'm losing power quick, man. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not looking good. He's like, okay. Well, they couldn't even they were on the U-turn in the air, so they've already past the river on this one side, and they're making the U-turn to kind of come back across the other side. Well, they weren't going to make it. They were losing altitude really fast. So he goes, okay, plan B. We're not going to make it to the cornfield. So I'm going to try to land it on the water. Man, just kind of slide it on there. It's going to be rough, but we'll be okay. I have life jackets and stuff in the storage area. We'll get them out. We'll get to shore. We'll call for help. That's worst case scenario, man. Okay. Richard's like, okay, man. I got your. I'm with you, man. You're the experienced one, not me. So they go, and they're just coming over these trees, clipping the top of the trees of the plane, and he's trying to get it the right wing down so he can kind of come in at a level landing on the river, but it's not happening. So when he hits, it's kind of like that left wing hits the water, and the plane kind of goes forward, to where the pilot and that front part of that plane is going to get hit. Anyway, it was a rough landing. They hit the water. Wing parts fly, and Richard blacks out and goes unconscious. So he comes to, not sure how long, seconds, minutes later. And he's getting his bearings. He's looking around. His leg's in a lot of pain. He thinks it's broke, but from where he's at, it's kind of crumpled. The metal is crumpled, so it's like his foot is stuck. So he's trying to get himself out of the seat belt, the chest restraints of the plane. And he's yelling, and he can see Donald hunched over in the pilot seat. And he's like, Donald, wake up, man. Are you okay? And he's trying to get his attention. Donald's not moving, and then he notices, as he's moving around and looking at him more, that there's quite a bit of blood coming from his head. And then he all of a sudden gets this feeling well, I don't think Donald will make it. I think he crashed during the impact of the plane hitting the water. So Richard's kind of freaking out, man. He's in pain. His legs broke, but his adrenaline's running, so he's trying not to think about that. He's just trying to figure out how he can get out of this seat, man, because it's already super narrow and not a lot of room, when it's in good condition and you're getting in it to fly it, you know what I mean? And the plane is taking on water, and it is slowly sinking, not at a fast rate, but it's taking on water, and it's going to sink. And if he doesn't get it together and get out of there, he's going to go down with that plane. So he's looking around, he's getting his arms and shoulders out of the chest restraints, but his foot's still caught. The water's coming up further up his stomach, up to his chest. He's like, man, this is not good. And then all of a sudden, because he's more of on the right side of the river when they came down, if that makes any sense. If you're looking straight on, they're more on the right side. And then on the other side, the left side of this river bank, sandbar area, he just sees this guy standing there all by himself. Doesn't know where he come from. Looks like a normal guy, but he's but they noticed when they were flying and coming over, they weren't seeing trucks parked down by the tree lines or tents for campers or really see anybody fishing, because where they were was pretty remote, man. And there's some remote parts in Kansas, let me tell you. So this guy was like, Richard's like, hey, he's screaming, hey man, we've crashed, I need help. You gotta get some help, man, you gotta call somebody. And the guy just real calmly says, help's already on the way, I'm coming to you. And this guy starts swimming out to Richard, out to the plane. And Richard's like, okay, and he's coming to help me. This is good. This is a good thing. And he gets there and he's like, here, man, let me hold you up. He's like, my leg's stuck. He's like, I can see that. He's like, let me hold you up so the water doesn't get over your head. And he's like, help's already on the way. They should be here literally very soon. And I'm just gonna help be here with you and keep your head above the water. And he's like, oh man, I appreciate it. Oh my God. I don't know what I would have done if I didn't see you stand on that sandbar, man. He's like, oh, it's fine, man. It's fine. You're going to be okay. And the guy was so calm during this crazy plane crash situation. He remained so calm, almost eerily calm, So all of a sudden you can hear the sirens in the distance of the police and the EMS. And we're just thinking, oh, this is great, man. I am going to get out of this, maybe. And he asked the guy, he's like, hey, can you check my friend, man? That's my friend Donald, man. Can you make sure he's okay? Because he didn't respond to me earlier. And the guy looks at me and he says, Donald didn't make it, man. It's okay. He didn't make it, man. I think that impact got him. And Richard was devastated, but his adrenaline's pumping and he's thinking about his own life and is he going to get out of this? So, before you know it, you see some cars coming down by the tree line, some police cars, and you see EMS, and then you see the police kind of bring out their water team, which back then was more simple, but had a boat and a couple dudes could dive. So the boat's coming out, and they're waving, they've made contact, and he's like, see man, they're here, it's gonna be okay. He's like, so I'm gonna let you go, man, because they're here, and I'll get back. And he's like, okay. Richard's like, okay, man, thank you so much, man. You really saved my life. And he's like, no problem, man. You'll be fine. And kind of just goes out from his right peripheral vision, and Richard's more concentrating on the guys coming with the boats. They get there and they get his leg unjammed from the seat and they get him onto the boat. They get back to shore. They get him on a gurney, and he's asking about his friend Donald. He's like, is he okay? Is he just got some bad injuries? And they told him, no, your buddy didn't make it. He died during the crash. So, Richard's starting to, show more emotion because he's alive now and he made it. But his friend didn't. So he, feels horrible. And so as the EMF guys got him on the gurney and they're checking him out, and the police are standing by. He's like, okay, but I'd at least like to shake that guy's hand, man, because he saved my life, man. If it wasn't for him swimming out there to me and holding my head up, I wouldn't be here, man. I was going to sink with that plane. And the EMS guys kind of have this puzzled look on their face, and they look at each other like, well, what's this guy talking about? And they're like, sir, there was nobody out there with you when we got there. We just got there just in time, but there was nobody with you, sir. I'm sorry. He goes, well, of course there was, man. He held my head up the whole time. I had a conversation with this guy. He swam in the water. He was wet like I was. What do you mean there was nobody out there with me? He was there. I talked to him. I could feel him, he was helping me. He had his hands on me. He was holding my head above the water. What are you talking about? And he swam back to the shore, and one of the other police officers was like, no, sir, there's absolutely no signs that anybody's been out here. There's no vehicle tracks. There's no footprints in the sandbar, man. Nobody's out in this part, man. You're just lucky that like a farmer saw the plane going down and called it in, and we got here as fast as we could. But I'm sorry, there's nobody out here, man. It's okay. You've had a pretty traumatic experience. And he was just like, he refused to believe it. He's like, nah, man. He's like, I kind of know when I'm hallucinating and something's not real compared to like something 110% real in front of me. That's an object that's solid, that's I can see with my own eyes, you know. But anyway, so they have him on the gurney. They're getting ready to prop him up, and they're putting him in the back of the ambulance. And there was like one of the, I think it was like ambulance driver standing there by him, and he had heard the whole, you know, conversation, obviously, and he like patted him on his shoulder, and he said, "It's all right, Richard." He was like, "That was just your guardian angel that was with you today. That helped you. It wasn't your time to go, man. And that was just your guardian angel, man. That's all it was." And Richard was looking at this guy as he's saying this to him, and he just gets like the chills over his body, like, whoa. And he looks back as he's being like put into the back of the ambulance, and he's like looking over sees the trees and the water and the bend of the river and the 90-degree sun shining on the water, making it look crystallized and mirrored. You know that look if you're from Kansas, and just, it's beautiful, right? And he was just like, and you could see like part of the plane way over there, barely sticking out of the water, like one of the back ends of the plane or something, and just thinking, wow, maybe that was my guardian angel. And they put him in the back of the ambulance, and they shut the door, and pop, pop, and they took off and took him to the hospital, you know, to get medically cleared, make sure he was okay. And that is the end of the story, guys. Is that crazy or what? I don't know if that's a real story. I don't know if that's a real story that happened in Kansas and my dad took parts of it and made it his own story, or if it's completely made up and it's just an urban myth. If it is, it's a cool one, man. Don't know if everybody believes in guardian angels or things like that, but that's the story, and nonetheless, it is pretty cool, man, and it makes you think and it makes you wonder. So that is it. Thanks for hanging out with me again on Red Eye Hour Solo Stories Part 2. That's the end. We will see you guys next time real soon. Third one will be coming out soon, so just get your tickets ready for that flight on the Red Eye Hour. And we'll see you later, everybody. Bye.
Thanks for flying with the Red Eye Hour.